Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today, as you can see, we are finally back with some F1 Esports challenges. Today, this is event number 3, round 5. So we're at the halfway point of the season. If you forgot, there are 10 races over the span of 5 events. So, yeah, currently in the standings then, I'll put them up on the screen. We are P5 with only 37 points. You may have seen from my last 2 videos, we managed to get a win in Zandvoort and get P13, I believe it was, in Austria. We won't talk about that. We will swiftly move on. So, yeah, after a pretty average season so far, we'll be looking to break the curse of getting 0 points in the second race. Just for those who have forgot or don't know the format, there are 2 races. The first one being a short quali with a 25% race, followed by a one-shot qualifying with a 25% race again. So, yeah, not a great season so far, but of course we'll be trying to get back into things. Coming into Britain, pace was good. Of course we only need top 6, but of course we're going to try and go for the win, as per usual. But I know that there were some very fast people in practice, particularly Patrick Sipos, Alessio Di Capua. I know they were going to be my main rivals going into this. But yeah, coming into our qualifying session then, across the line for our first run, and we do a 23.5, just about a 0.5, but that is enough for provisional pole at that time. My personal best was a 23.1, which is fast, but not the fastest.
Almost invalidated coming into Stowe.
Yeah, I've seen a few 23.0s floating around from my competitors, so yeah, pace was decent, but I knew it would be a very tough one. But yeah, looking good so far. Our banker lap was much better than in Zandvoort, where we were just all over the place. So yeah, it's looking pretty decent. So coming on to the end of our second run then. This is our second of 3 runs that we get in this session. Or 4 if we mess up one of our laps, we can afford to back off and go again. But coming across the line, it's only a 23.4, which isn't bad. But as you can see, Alessio Di Capua is pretty much a 10th ahead. He's done a really good banker lap, to be honest. But yeah, we have a lot of time to gain, especially in our last sector. As you can see, we've done a 0.8, where we need to be doing somewhere around a mid to high 0.6. So yeah, there's around 1.5, a bit more, tenths in there, which we need to find going on to our final run. So, coming on to our final run then, of the session. Currently in P4, but let's go for it then. So, into turn 1, 8th gear, obviously flat out. Just want to make sure you're taking the right line, don't scrub off any speed. Into turn 3, bring just after 100 meter board onto the curb, use all that curb on the inside into 3rd gear, swing it back over to the right before dropping it down to 2nd, clipping that curb again, and getting the power down without losing the rear end. Activate DRS as soon as possible, of course, and now preparing to end sector 1. Braking just before the 50 meter board on the curb down to 4th gear. You take this inside curb as well, and then into Luffield. Not too wide, but not too close to the curb, obviously. Use all this curb on the exit as well. Short shift up to 5th if the traction is difficult. And now through the old turn 1 of Cops, obviously, once again, flat out. And you just want to prepare yourself for the famous Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. As we go through it, we take it fairly cautiously, as you can see, a bit tentative on the throttle and the turn-in, but we do improve by quite a bit, as we did mess up on our previous lap. And now, preparing for Stowe, you want to take her in 6th gear. Don't use the inside curb as it can throw you off, but stay as close as possible as you can. Make sure not to run too wide and invalidate your lap. But into the final sector, there's cars just... that's painful to watch. That is painful to watch, and we've messed up the final sector and we barely improve. To be honest with you, it was more just me panicking, seeing 2 cars ahead of me about to start their laps, getting in the way. They didn't actually block me, so to speak, but just them being there just put me off completely. It just completely threw me off, and yeah, we mess up. No hate to the guys who were there They were just trying to start their laps. They did actually get out of the way. It was just extremely distracted for me, as you've seen. I locked up straight away and went deep. But yeah, it is what it is. We're going to start the race in P3. Alessio Di Capo takes pole then with a very good lap of a 23.222. Patrick Sipos takes second place and ourselves in P3. So yeah, third place, not the best position to be on the grid, because the guy in second has DRS on the guy in first and we're in third, and we kind of just get stuck in the train. But something to always remember is pit stops and getting held is a big problem in these sort of races.
Sorry everyone, chat, if you were expecting some beast lap. It wasn't meant to be. But, you know, we're still people,
yeah, we're going to go for the overcut.
Let's get it.
Just to avoid getting held in the pits. You never know what could happen. But yeah, let's just get into it anyway. So, after like 1 month of waiting for this event, the 5 red lights are on for the British GP in the F1 Esports Challengers, and they're away. And as per usual, we get an absolutely awful start, and we have already lost a position to Matteo. Attic Korpanen looks for a move, but we're going to go around the outside of Matteo just to defend our position. He closed the door, but we weren't really looking to get through anyway. We hold our well, no, we didn't hold our position. We've lost one, haven't we? Oh dear. But anyway, our front wing's still intact, which means anything can happen. But unfortunately, we are kind of just stuck in this train. We're not exactly in the worst spot, but you know what I mean. We're not the first or second, which is where you definitely want to be. So yeah, now is just the long wait, as you've seen from all my videos. It's just a slipstream train, just waiting for your opportunity to pounce. So yeah, we're just going to save ERS, save tyres. You want to save as much fuel, ERS and tyres as you can in these laps, and hopefully, and then you need to try and make something happen later on in the race. So of course, remembering to stick in the DRS, that's the main thing. If you need to drain a lot of your battery to stay within the train, then so be it. It's better to it's better to be in contention with low ERS than a full battery, be it 2 seconds behind. So yeah, just remember for your own races to make sure you save as much as possible, tires, ERS, fuel, but also don't drop off out of contention. So moving on to lap 5 then. As you can see, we are in P2. That's because Patrick Sipos and Alessio Di Capo comes into the pits. Me and Matteo stayed out. As you can see, Matteo was about to go into the pits there, but decided to stay out. I'm not sure if that's because we stayed out. But honestly, I was quite annoyed because we were planning on going for a massive overcut. As you can see, we still have a lot of ERS, and we just wanted to absolutely burn through it on this lap. But we're going to have to wait another lap in Matteo's DRS. He was driving at a decent pace, so it wasn't too bad, but we literally just wanted to absolutely go for it, all guns blazing, use all our ERS, and then maybe we had a chance of coming back out into the lead. But now we just have to hope Matteo is driving at a good, solid pace, so that we don't get undercutted too badly. Yeah, we saved a lot of our battery, and we were in the train, so our tyres were fairly good in terms of tyre wear. So the overcut wouldn't be too detrimental to our race. Also, with the track being Britain, the softs really don't wear. The tyre wear is really nice here. The track's really nice on the tyres, which we found out from doing race practice, because we actually do race practice for these events. But yeah, we decided we could actually go for Nicolas Matteo here. But this was definitely a mistake. We should have just waited for him to pit. As you can see, he goes defensive because he wants to be the first person into pit lane. And this is just... It didn't cost us too much time, but when you're trying to go for the overcut, this definitely was not ideal. But now, finally, Matteo peels into the pits, and we can just absolutely go for it. You can see the gap to Alessio, 27.2. As our engineer tells us, what we just did with Matteo didn't cost us too much time, so we should be all good. But now we need to push, otherwise we're going to get heavily undercutted, and we could risk coming out into the big train of cars around P6, P7. So yeah, this is a crucial lap for us. It's important if you go for these overcuts you have some ERS to spare, because the guys who undercut are definitely going to be using the ERS as well. So yeah, as you can see, we're very concentrated right now. using all our battery, and hopefully we can maybe jump one car, maybe Matteo. I'm not expecting to overcut Alessio and Sipos, because one, we would have to have some extraordinary pace, and we lost a tiny bit of time when we went for that move on Matteo, which was a mistake. We shouldn't have done that. But yeah, as you can see, I think the gap's actually maybe slightly increased, but it's not going to make too much of a difference as we make our pit stop now. And coming out of the pits then, as you can see, they're the two leaders. There's Matteo, and we have slotted right back where we were. And although we haven't really gained anything, considering we pit, what was it, 2 laps later than the leaders, I would say that was a pretty successful overcut from us, not to lose that much time. And now it was important that we knew about the tyre difference, because if we tried that on a different track, we probably would be maybe in P8 right now. So yeah, don't go for the overcut at every track, but Britain is one of them tracks where the softs don't weigh, so you can take them, you can extend them a lot. And it works the other way as well. If you're starting on mediums, you can pit quite early for softs, and they maintain a good pace all throughout the race, and they have decent tyre wear. So yeah, something to think about when you're doing your races around Britain. So now we've slotted back into the train. We have quite a bit of ERS, but as I said, Matteo in that train with DRS slipstream on Patrick Sipos or Takapwa, as it stands, it's going to be very difficult to make a move. We don't want to go in for anything risky, of course, because as I said, we need P6 in this. We don't need P1. So yeah, we're not going to go for anything special. If we're stuck in the train, then that's how it is. I'm sure you would like to see some more action. Maybe we go for a dive bomb, but that's just not how it's going to be in these type of races with too much on the line for both of us, to be honest. You don't just want to ruin another driver's race going for some stupid dive bomb. So yeah, if we're stuck in the train, then that's how it is. So as you can see then, we're on lap 9 still, and this is what happens when we try and use a lot of ERS. We'd gain a little bit, but Matteo would just start using some ERS of his own, and he'd stay ahead. We could completely drain the battery all the way down the straight, but then we'll be left with 0 for 1, and 2, we'd probably be side by side going into Stowe, which could A, end up in a crash, or B, end up in a loss of a lot of time, which we then could lose touch with the leaders. So maybe if you're just doing a regular race, you may want to go for the move. You may as well just go for it. But in these type of conditions, it's better to be safe than sorry, to be honest. So yeah, moving on then to the final lap. Nicholas Matteo actually made a move on Patrick Sipos then. So Sipos must have been really low on ERS, considering they were in the train. But they're actually going to go side by side through Vale. And we were hoping for a Nicholas Matteo, Freddie Rasmussen moment there where they both get pushed off and we sneak through, but it's not meant to be. And we come home in P4 for round number 5. As you can tell from my reaction,
It's all about making sure we're getting those consistent points.
Yeah.
not too disappointed. Could be better, but you know, it's a decent haul of points. As I've said like 8 times already, we need top 6, so we shouldn't be too disappointed with the P4. But yeah, Alessio Di Capua wins the race. Nicholas Matteo, P2, and then Patrick Sipos rounds off the podium positions. We take home P4, which takes us to 49 points in the championship. Crucially, people who were ahead of us, I believe, Ate Korpinen and Ruben Vallejo, we outscored them, so we should gain some points on them. But yeah, Patrick Sipos and Alessio Di Capua, top 2 in the championship, and once again, they gain more points on us. So not ideal, but there's always Spa, and you never know what could happen, as I've shown in the past 2 events. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Didn't want to make it too long. Let me know if you want these to be longer, even though they are pretty much just slipstream trains. I could talk more about what I'm doing, but it's all down to you guys. But thank you for watching. I'll be back with Spa highlights soon from the challengers, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you then.